And this is kind of for the first time, it's the only people that made decisions about the music were us. No one else. We have an amazing team and we love our team to death, that we've had around us. A lot of them have been with us a very long time. But when it came to the music, it was, no one else was really factored into the room.
This is a great track. Let's start right there. When did this one kind of begin to actually come together? Was this some of those previous sessions we've talked about? Was this kind of brand new idea? When did it develop?
I think I made the track like last summer, and then we just kind of lived with that instrumental, and we like really loved it.
Mm.
But we're working on a bunch of other stuff, and then we're like, this track just feels really good. Let's try to finish it, and then we
We actually
chopped
like
on it.
recorded it kind of out of order. Like they went into the studio and recorded all the instrumentation, like the whole track, everything but vocals, before there was a top line.
Yeah,
So it was definitely a risk. But they went and recorded 3 tracks, and yeah, and this was one of them. And then I worked with the same top liner that I worked with on Blindfolded, Cassandra, who I just like I'm so obsessed with, and we have so much fun writing together, and we did Good Guy, and yeah.
Nice. I mean, it's something we've talked about a number of times at this point, but that idea of, particularly in this kind of most recent era, you were really wanting to bring back a lot of that guitar sound that we always have heard through your live show, but kind of put it a bit more at the forefront. This is kind of that this is like the culmination of that, really, isn't it? It's definitely at the most at the forefront of any of those songs that we've heard so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess just a little bit more about what kind of prompted that really with you guys and why it felt like the right time to kind of really explore that sound a bit more.
It might have just been the way this one was recorded as well. Like we
yeah,
went in there and just did guitars, bass, and drums.
yeah. Kind of like the old school.
Yeah.
I mean, to any like musicians or people in bands and stuff. Yeah, we did like all real guitars and stuff, which isn't really like real amps. Like most people are just plugging into their, Kemper or something like that. But we're going to the studio to just to record the meat and potatoes, like drums, bass, guitar. We might as well make them as good as possible.
Mhm.
And so we spent the time and actually plugged in some real amps. We actually blew up a cabinet in the process of recording this song, like actually
You
exploded the
gotta love it.
speakers. So it's high octane rock.
That's the quote you've been wanting to have for years. The high octane
Yeah,
rock
yeah.
of Against the Current. Here it is. We've got it. It's also, I'm almost loath to use this phrase, but it's appropriate. It's the most seen track you've done in a long time, guys. It feels
Hmm.
like back to the roots of where you guys came from a little bit. And again, it's no secret that that kind of sound is having its biggest commercial moment that it's had in a very, very long time. And rightly so. I think there's some really exciting newer artists in particular who are putting like some
Yeah.
cool twists on that for sure. But that's got to be nice for you guys to kind of explore. I mean, the fact is you did come out of that scene, but I feel like this is almost the most you've channeled that side of you again as well. It's reminding me of when you guys did that Take Back Sunday cover on the last tour and everything. It feels like
Yeah.
that's maybe sparked a little something here. We're going full emo again, man.
Yeah, I mean,
Hopefully.
also going independent and just kind of returning to like where the band started, and just not having so many voices cluttering up the production process, and the writing process. So I think that was the thing, is everyone's got an opinion. Whether they should or shouldn't is, kind of up to interpretation. And the more people you have on you around you, when you're on a label, etc., it's like there are just so many people who are telling you what you should and shouldn't do, and what you should and shouldn't make, and who you should and shouldn't be. um, and this is kind of for the first time, it's the only people that made decisions about the music were us. No one else. We have an amazing team and we love our team to death, that we've had around us. A lot of them have been with us a very long time. But when it came to the music, it was, no one else was really factored into the room.
Yeah, and it's appreciated as well by your scene people. I've just seen Big Josh Franceschi shouting you out on Twitter. By the way,
Yeah.
he's loving that tune. That's very good to see. Love Josh. Shout out him. But that must have been one of the key aims, I suppose. Really, we mentioned the fact that you guys are an independent act now. I mean,
Mm.
was it? I guess the sound of it was maybe at the forefront of what you guys were thinking, but in a wider sense, in terms of I guess moving forward and stuff. What were the advantages you've been kind of looking for in this new independent era of Against the Current? There's clearly a newfound freedom there. How are you putting that to use moving forward?
I think for us, creativity has always been very fluid. We're not. I hate the personally like the rigidity, is that how you pronounce that? Rigidity of like the music industry in some ways. Like there's so much process involved, and I get it, I really do. I understand why it has to be there when you have a label that's so massive and has hundreds of artists and thousands of employees and all that. Totally understand it, but for me it just kind of felt like it sucked all the fun out of something that should just come naturally. And now being independent, we've been able to just, we recorded the video, or we filmed the video for Good Guy like last week, and it's going to come out next week. So it's just the same thing with, we got turned in the master like 3 weeks before we were putting it out. And we didn't have to. We could have turned it in 2 days before, but we were like, they were like, if you give us a few weeks, we could, push a little bit more on the playlisting. And we're like, okay, we could wait a few weeks. But like, it was our decision to do that. Whereas I can't even tell you how many times we had to decide the day that our music was going to come out based on other artists that already had their release days on the label set up. And I get it, I really do. Everyone, they want to give everyone their moment, but it's just so nice to not have to worry about someone else's release when you're doing your own, and just not feeling like you're being put on a back burner or anything like that.
But it's interesting, we can see that kind of fluidity already coming through, because a great example of that would be this Blindfolded acoustic version you just did, because clearly you could see, I know how in touch you guys are with your fan base. You can see that one is like getting a really good reaction, so it makes sense to give them what they want with the kind of an acoustic version. And because it's independent, you can just get straight on that and give the people what they want right away, which is really, really nice. Tell me a little bit about stripping that one back a little bit though, because again, it's clearly what the fans wanted. It must have been really nice and validating to see the reaction to this new version to it as well.
Yeah, that one was really fun. I was excited to start that process because we knew we wanted to do an acoustic version. And that song's like really interesting because it works in so many different ways. Like the demo of that song was completely different from what it ended up being. Like it was like a very light, like summery pop song.
Which we still...
And it worked great. Like we loved it, but we're like, this is a little different than the direction we're going. And then we kind of found like the new world it lived in. So it was cool to strip it back and kind of give it just, I don't know. I feel like even listening back to the acoustic version, like the lyrics resonate differently. Like it puts the whole thing in a new light, a new perspective.
Yeah, it's really nice that you're able to do these kind of things now. And we've had these conversations before about, there was going to be the 2 EPs and everything, and things get held up for various reasons. Now that you are independent and hitting the ground running, how is the wider plan looking for you guys at the minute? Obviously, we've got this track about to drop. I think it's a very, very clear indicator of the direction you guys are looking to move into now. But without giving too much away, how much music are we playing with at the minute? What's the kind of thought process on how you want to roll out this next era of the band?
Well, when we went to the studio, we recorded music for 3 songs. So Good Guy is one of those 3. So we're kind of working through those.
Plus a bunch of demos that we have that are kind of like in their ready to go, we're ready to record state. And then, I think so. We've got this world tour planned through the year. We plan to have a body of music of some shape or form at some point this year. Once again, it's really nice. We don't have to plan it like super far out in advance. So we're going to record them, and when they're ready, we're going to ship them out and just put them out. And that's a very liberating process. I think the one thing we do know is like the era that we're living in is this nightmares and daydreams era right now. So I think the fans can expect that the music will reflect that. Good Guy kind of lives more in that daydream zone. It's, it's a little brighter, it's upbeat, but there will be things that live in, and Blindfolded as well, and then there will be things in the nightmare zone as well.
Exciting to hear. And I guess it also opens up the idea of collaboration more and more. I know you got to work with people like the Bring Me the Horizon guys and stuff on kind of previous tracks and things. Is there anyone you have been working with or are looking to work with now? Because I guess, the world's your oyster a little bit. You can just take, if there's somebody you want to work with and you're down for that, it can just sort of happen now, really, can't it?
Yeah. We haven't worked with anyone like in terms of an artist right now. I mean, we've been working with obviously like our producer and I mentioned Cassandra, the co-writer that I really love top lining with. But we'd love to do a really cool collab. We just want to make sure that when we do it, the song is asking for it. Like it needs to, I don't like when a collab, it feels just smashed together for the sake of saying like so and so like collaborated. We want to find that moment where it's like, yes, like this needs someone else in it, and then make sure that whoever that is also the right person for that too. So
We're working with ourselves right now.
yeah, collabing
We're
together.
working on ourselves, working with ourselves.
Yeah.
The collab we've enjoyed for years now, the three of you.
Yeah, well, you know, it was
That's all
lost
you
for a
need.
while. We were
Yeah.
working with a lot of other people, and it's nice to kind of have, you know, the ball back in our court.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, you can see it's, I mean, yeah, it's clearly working for you guys. Genuinely, this is a great, great song, and it's a great comeback track for you. And I can see it as well really fitting into that live show. Because again, as we talked about before, you know, when I saw you guys with Pierce the Veil, you've really leaned into this edge of what you do. I know I keep saying it, but it's true. It's really cool to see you guys rediscover that side of yourselves a little bit. And as we can see, you know, you're in Florida right now rehearsing for this US tour. It's Trophy Eyes and yours truly on that bill as well. I mean, the show I'm sure is going to match the mood right there, isn't it? Like this one in particular feels like it's made for a live room, but particularly for that kind of audience.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy too, because we're bringing back some like older songs from like Infinity, and next to Good Guy, like it all seems like the old songs seem new almost.
It's the mega
It
mix.
just fits in. It's so effortless. That's like the best part about where we're at right now. Like people from the outside might think it was like this big shift, but it's more natural and like easier than ever for us,
Yeah.
because it's I guess it's kind of just in our DNA. It's the music we always want to make.
That's nice to hear. The music you always wanted to make, man. No, it definitely is, and you can feel it in that energy, man. And you guys seem a really, really good place, so it's lovely to see this kind of progressing in that way for sure. And then, of course, you know, it'd be remiss of me not to mention coming back to the UK. That's very exciting. Some more headline shows later in the year. I mean, this has been the lovely thing. Even seeing you guys with Pierce the Veil there, the audience was super, super up for it. There was definitely a fair old chunk of your crowd in there that had come for you guys as well. So it's got to be nice to be able to come back and now do some proper headliners again too.
Did you say fair old or feral?
Fairly.
I said fair old, but I'm happy to go with either. I
fan.
mean, if both terms fit, then let's go with it.
Yeah, well, we're stoked to come back. I mean, that run should be really fun. Come back to the same venue that we played with Pierce the Veil, but except as a headliner, which is awesome. You know, hoping to get a full sellout on that one and just have a kick-ass night in London. But just that whole tour should be really awesome. We're really excited we love touring in the UK and Europe, and you know, we feel like some of our, you know, most passionate fans are there. Like they really show up to all the shows. So I think we've said it before, like London's always kind of felt like a second hometown to us, the way like the shows feel. Like people will travel from all over to come to those shows. So yeah, we're really pumped to be back.